You know, folks, I knew today's game was going to be rough, but I never thought it was going to be this rough. So instead of going through my usual intro, let's just take a moment and blame the individual that has brought us today's review. This is Digimon World 4.
Let's address the elephant in the room first. RPGs take me forever to do. Most of it is usually grinding for levels, and Digimon was no exception. What is the exception is losing almost all of my fucking footage for this review. The amount of frustration I've had with this game only to lose nearly everything I recorded to some corrupted folders was really fucking depressing. So depressing that I needed to take a break for a couple months. Yeah, that bad. So it looks like I'm gonna have to borrow some stuff from YouTube. And by borrow, I mean rip the fuck off. Relax, that's why there's credits at the end of these videos. An emergency get out of fuck up free card. I think that's how it works anyway. So, Digimon. How many of you guys watching have heard of it? Hopefully most, if not all of you. Digimon as a franchise is one of those things that you can forget about for years, but still look back on it fondly whenever the topic comes up. Well, for the anime, anyway. There's a lot of Digimon games out there, surprisingly, but none of them really struck a chord with me as a memorable experience. Most of them were more like a vague, well, that just happened experience. The one notable exception was a D3 Digivice I used to have as a kid before I lost it. Lo and behold, the one emulator I was able to locate for this device that was barely even a legit Digimon game to begin with led me to a site that gave my laptop a virus. Which, well, son of a bitch. The game's story is based off the movie Digital Monster X Evolution and the X Virus. Instead of the Yggdrasil computer being the main problem, it's Mecha Rogue X. To summarize, you start the game off as one of 4 starter Digimon that was just accepted as a new member of the Digital Security Guard. Around this time, a server known as the Yamato server has disappeared and was replaced by the Doom server. When a team of Digimon vanished after investigating the Doom server, you're thrown in to save them. Basically, you're stopping another power-hungry asshole from taking over the entire digital world, and you'll be solving puzzles and taking on hordes of Digimon infected with the X virus to do it. Pretty simple shit. What's not so simple is the gameplay. It starts out pretty simple with choosing both a single or multiplayer campaign and what Digimon you start with, but afterward it gradually melts into a complicated mess. Starting out, your Digimon is equipped with either a gun or a sword to attack enemies. We aren't even 5 minutes in and we're already skull-fucking the concept of regular Digimon mechanics. Okay, that might be a little unfair since you do gain mana-based projectiles similar to what a Digimon would typically use, but the fact of the matter is that we are now in full RPG mode complete with a level up system, weapons, health items, and resistances. And with weapons and armor comes a shop to buy them from and money to buy them with, which can be found when exploring the 4 main worlds and defeating enemies. Enemies spawn in frequently as you explore, and in a lot of cases you'll have to clear them out before you can proceed. As you defeat enemies with your weapons, you gain tech that increases your proficiency with the weapon type you're using. High proficiency means you can use better weapons to slap around more bad guys. Every major location you explore will also put you at odds with a mini-boss, and if your level isn't high enough, you'll get trashed extremely quickly. If you do die, you can still find and recover your lost money and experience from the backup chip that's left behind, but you need an item to even recover the chip to begin with, which is complete bullshit. You know, sorry if I'm sort of rushing through all of this. Part of it is due to how late this video already is, but a major part is just how fucking tedious this game is. Let's take a moment and list some notes of just how quickly you as a player can become uninvested in this game within the first couple of hours. First off, the story. Already it's pretty generic, but I found no reason to care about anyone or anything in this game. Why did the starter Digimon become a security guard in the first place? Not a damn clue. Is there any sort of character development that would make me want to go out and save anyone? If there was, I didn't see it. This story is a massive diarrhea of exposition that overshadows just about everything else story related in the game. Hell, there's one instance where you can save a bunch of Digimon from cages using the shit pistols you start with, but it's not mandatory to proceed. And thank God for that, because I really don't give two shits. But it's the gameplay that really makes me want to blow my fucking brains out. When you're thrown out into the first world, you can spend a ton of time just trying to figure out where to go, even after the game tells you your objective. I spent over 2 hours wandering the first world just trying to find out where to get the 2 keys I needed. It turns out these keys were in 2 separate caves, both of which were basically a dungeon crawler with a copy-paste layout of awful, complete with swarms of enemies to deal with. After getting these 2 keys, I gained access to a base filled with Goblimon. When I say filled with, I mean that there were so many of these assholes that it caused my frame rate to tank, and they just kept coming. I've seen hentai with less goblins than this fucking place. And when I finally freed Leomon from that base, I gained access to more of the same location I've been wandering in. Oh, and did I mention that there's no checkpoints when it comes to going back and forth between these places? Because death in this game is a big middle finger, I found myself frequently going back to the main lobby to deposit my money in the bank, sell the useless crap I picked up, save, and then head back to Death Valley, where I started right from the beginning all over again with all the enemies respawning. But let's step back and look at the main lobby. Just like the worlds you've been exploring, everything here looks the fucking same. Shopkeepers look like the asshole that saves your game, which looks like the dickhead that lets you change the stuff you can equip, who also looks like the cocksucker that lets you digivolve the members of your party as you unlock them. I couldn't really find this guy during my first playthrough, and after a bit of searching, I found out I wasn't the only one that had problems with this. It also doesn't help that all these monkey-looking motherfuckers are spread across random points of the main lobby, which are all separated by loading screens. And oh my goddamn Christ, the fucking loading screens. They're everywhere. This is what we're dealing with when we're talking about Digimon World 4. A bland, unintuitive, choppy game with a third-rate story and less reasons to give a shit about what's going on than an actual bowel movement. I'm a pretty patient guy when it comes to trying new things, but this game, oh my god, this game. The only other time I felt this drained after trying something new was when I used Avid Media Composer back in college. Unlike Avid, I didn't feel the need to go outside and punch a random homeless person after playing Digimon World 4, but it was close.
This game has drained me so much that I'm not even gonna bother with a usual outro either. Just know that I will be getting back into my previous uploading frequency again here pretty soon. The next countdown that's in the works is going to be dealing with video game curve stomps, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, take care people.